Oh man, this is it's disappointing that we're not in our usual room.
I know it's a bit of a change up, but it's not too bad. I think we made it work.
How long did we wait to get into this room?
Oh, at least 45 minutes. So.
We got here at 7:30 and we started recording exactly 9 o'clock. Today is a great start to the day.
Yeah, it's one of those logistical nightmares for us today, which wasn't great, but we got here eventually.
If I had to describe myself in a football photo, I don't know if you saw Darwin Núñez this morning, crying celebration, and then they lost 3-2.
Aged so quickly.
Or who knows, we might use the end of the season if Liverpool does something, eventuate into something big.
Maybe, yeah.
But let us know in the comments below, or if you're listening to this on Spotify, which a lot of people told us yesterday at the podcast, you they listened to us. But if the audio is echoey, I know Paul is editing this one, so he's going to definitely be stressing out. I can already picture him at home being like, scratching his head, being like, what, why, how, when?
But we're here. Let's just do it anyway. It might be a little bit technically glitchy.
What are you wearing today? Tell the...
I've gone 06 Werder Bremen. I love this era. This was like Diego. I love Diego. Miroslav Klose, I think, was around the same time. Ozil as well.
Yeah, and Mertesacker?
Possibly as well. I can't remember. I just remember I fell in love with Diego when I was like a kid. Like I'd say 15 or something at the time. Yeah. Man, for me, he was elite. And I feel like he should have I don't know if he got as much credit as he deserved. I feel like he was a lot better.
I think we're speaking to Nando about it, where there's so many Brazilians that not everyone becomes a star.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite Brazilian players, and I'll tell you what I'm wearing, but one of my favorite Brazilian players that came to Europe, didn't really make it, went back to Brazil and is a god there now, is Gabigol or Gabriel.
Yep.
Was at Inter Milan for a bit, and there was potential that he was going to West Ham or Newcastle, one of the teams this season.
Yeah,
do you remember Gabigol?
It's funny that, isn't it? Yeah, he was like a big social, he had a massive social status. Yeah, or still does. Yeah, correct. And it's funny how they just can kind of not drop off the radar from a global sense, but locally still be superstars. It's interesting.
Yeah, the Brazilians, talented footballers on this planet. I'm wearing this season's away shirt for United. Love this one. I'm pretty sad because I really dedicated myself last year to say I'm going to try and buy a lot more player spec shirts. So in the Adidas, I'd buy Heat Ready. But for some reason, I just didn't get this one. It was available here at Ultra, so I just purchased it. Mm-hmm. But I really like this one. I think it looks good. My daughter was wearing it yesterday.
Yes.
Kind of wish I wore it at the same time as her.
Yeah, it's good. I love that the kids... There's actually a few kids yesterday at the pop-up that were wearing kits, which was great. Like I saw a young lad wearing a Sunderland kit. He would have been probably, maybe 2 years old. And I was like, that's really cool. Tommy and Zari always get around in kits at each pop-up, which is good. So it's a bit of a thing we've got going on.
Our kids definitely are going to grow up in football jerseys.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Do you know those 100%. Nostalgic photos we all have? I think if you look at cult kids and stuff, and even just people out there, you look at their photos they share, and it's like kids in football jerseys from the 90s on film. That's a nostalgic feeling.
100%, especially when it becomes you see a lot of photos of, say, guys like Marco Reus, wearing his kit in his bedroom as a young lad, and he's probably taken on a Polaroid or something, one of those disposable cameras. And now that these things are resurfacing, it's so cool, especially because the 90s was sort of the start of a digital age, whereas a lot of people were still using film cameras because it was the affordable option to some degree.
Yeah, that photo of Ronaldo that went viral where he was wearing Adidas, but Nike used it for his photo. Where it's like the upcoming this list. He knew the future or something. Yeah. But it was actually an Adidas, so I still remember that. But it's funny because now we're going into that modern age where kids, today's generations, kids born 2000 onwards, are going to have photos of themselves, but there's so much content of them now that when it comes to the future promotions, when they're a football star. I was watching that Jorge Benito ad. Did you see me sharing those my stories? The one with Cantona going up to Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, and all that, and with Zlatan. There was that footage. I don't know if you remember the song. It's like a bit of samba. And it was Ronaldinho on the court against all his kids in Brazil on film, on VHS. Yeah. And then he was reenacting it as an adult. Do you think that nostalgic is going to fade away with football, where the whole film element and now it's a bit more digitalized, so the memories don't stand as nostalgic? Well,
I don't think it's going to... the nostalgia will always be there, I think, because, regardless of how it looks visually, there's still that connection, right? You look at... I think we see it a little bit with, Mason Mount. There's those photos of him as a 5 or 6 year old in the Chelsea academy. Yeah. And I think, yes, that was...
Motorola Razr photo.
Yeah, that was still digital, though, but it's not... I think it's just as things are going to develop over time, we're going to look back and be like, oh, that's how it was. So we're looking at things now and we're like, oh, these are how photos are. This is what video looks like. I think it's going to be, it might be a little bit more advanced in the future, but I don't think it's going to be, I think we're still going to look back and be like, oh my God, do you remember that? Because we're going to dress differently. Hairstyles are going to look different. Everything's going to be different back then. Hairstyles.
If you go to Turkey.
Yeah, maybe.
But I think our kids, if they become influencers, it's all to say, but like at least they got content in 9x16.
True. Everything's going to be portrait.
Everything's shot portrait. I try to do that with my with Zari, but you should definitely do it. I try to record one video a day, 1 minute a day, just on landscape. So I do it every morning, every afternoon, where I get an opportunity. I film her landscape. And to the listeners and the viewers, one thing I would say, if you have kids, but even if you just want to journal your life every day, record on your phone landscape. And just something every day for 1 minute. It will help you. Don't do it now.
I'm going to record you now as this is.
But like, honestly, do it landscape, because then when you think about it, like I'm going to have 1 minute for 365 days. So it's 365-minute video of my daughter doing something.
That is very cool, actually, now you think about it. It's like those guys that take a photo of themselves every single day to see how they change for like, a whole year or whatever it is.
I couldn't do it with myself. I feel like I tried it once, but it's just something, my daughter, I'd love it.
Yeah.
You don't have your iPad here today, do you? Or
no, my iPad was dead because we used it all day yesterday at the pop-up. But obviously it was still pretty an epic week in football as well. De Clasico was over the weekend, as massive as it ever was. Dortmund has a bit of a change up not in their squad, but they're looking pretty youthful at the moment.
Look, I watched the highlights this morning, and I said to you when we get to the cafe, we'll watch it. Danny put it on TV for us. I don't know. Like I look at the Dortmund team, they unlike Ajax, who always bounce back when they sell players.
Yeah.
But Dortmund just have this abundant, like I can't say the word today, abundance, or just they have this potential to just pluck players out of nowhere. The ones like for us who don't watch the games every day or look at the stats and look at the club, but they really showed up by Munich this morning, who have a stacked squad. I was making that joke. Sane, Mane, they've got Nabry, they've got Koeman, they've got so many players.
Goretzka,
like
just keeps going.
Goretzka, and it's just amazing to see that squad. But they came back 94th minute. Modesta, that beautiful last-minute goal, saved by the blonde guy. I can't remember his name, but just call him the blonde guy.
Yeah, that ball sort of over the top, and he kept it in play, and then kicks the ball across the
I definitely will need to keep an eye on the Bundesliga more this season. I've been watching a lot of St. Pauli, but what a game. I think your favourite moment of the game, apart from I don't want to pronounce his name wrong, Mukuyoko, the 17-year-old who scored that amazing goal, knocks over the goalkeeper. Having a blank again because I'm thinking of Oliver Kahn.
Neuer.
Yeah. That was a pretty funny moment. But your favorite moment involving a goalkeeper was...
I love Oliver Kahn, but him absolutely cracking the shits at the 94th minute was an absolute pisser. We shared it today on the just to sort of get some traction on the episode on socials, and man, I don't know why it's so funny. Like I remember, I think it was 06 World Cup semi-final. Italy, Germany, and then the camera cuts to that girl crying. And it's like, I don't know why I find it so amusing, like seeing people's reactions to goals. I guess from a positive sense too, I do like it as well. Like I love seeing fans lose their shit. Like the yellow wall was absolutely pumping.
I love it. I love watching the fans, the ultras around Europe, just people, just anyone in involving themselves in the football emotion. But Oliver Kahn, a player who's so energetic on the pitch, to show that he still has the passion. Of course, he's still a part of Bayern Munich in the background stuff.
100%.
But like, to see his reaction.
I thought he was going to break the glass in front of him. I don't know if you've seen, there's like that photo of him. I don't think it might have been against United actually. And he's got that like foot out into the chest of another player.
Yeah.
It's like a cool, imagine him doing that on the sidelines, like just kicking the glass. Actually,
he seems like
he's just a loose unit. But yeah, look, I think it was an awesome game. Like if you do have some spare moments, definitely go check out the highlights for that.
100%. Going over to Italy now. So I know people always talk about who's the best team in Milan. It's always conversation here when I wear my Milan shirts. You gave me a beautiful Inter shirt. What generation was it?
99?
It's got a beautiful name set on the back. It's got just amazing blue and black detailing with the snake skin, the Visione. But it's funny how Napoli and Atalanta are undefeated, still on top. I know it's only 9 games of the season.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the Serie A? Is it the most competitive league at the moment?
I think it's funny because it seems to be like that they've got a good chunk of teams that can consistently compete against one another. Watching Napoli in the Champions League last week was incredible. Like they absolutely touched up. I think it was Ajax. Yeah. And the football they play is so nice. Listening to who's Napoli coach at the moment?
I know exactly who it is, but I just can't say it.
Oh my God. Well, I blanked. Yeah, I was listening to another podcast and they were talking about how his career's kind of progressed. And, he's been trying to play a good brand of football.
No, it's not him.
Who's it? Oh my god, I can't.
You do it. I'll talk about it when you look for it. I think look, as City are like at the moment, it's definitely one of the most progressive leagues in Europe. Yeah. It's one of the most progressive leagues because you see the sort of abundance of players that come there, or just the amount of players they bring in and change. It's just so good to see, like for Milan, who I dislike with a passion, but Leal, the forward, like he's just, Martinez for me. Like these are players that, are standing out amongst the rest. But then you've got clubs like Atalanta and Napoli. But you were saying about Napoli, the coach?
Yeah, Spalletti. So he's had an interesting career. Like he's almost been known for like riding out his term as a coach, and say if things don't work out, and I know he had issues at Roma and then at a few other clubs, he won't coach until his contract is done. So what happens is the club actually pays, instead of paying him out in a lump sum, they pay him for the entirety of his contract.
Oh, wow.
So he'll have like a 2-year gap, and then all of a sudden he's just out of a job. He'll work coach for a club for say a year, get sacked, and then have another year off. And so I know he ended up, I think in Russia, coached a bit in Russia, had some success there, and then obviously now he's ended up back at Napoli. And man, the football for me was so nice to watch. It was a bit like Barcelona City-esque. Which is, it's been incredible.
It's interesting with coaches and seeing how they always, wherever they go, they change up. It's sad to see some coaches that are, prime in the Premier League just disappear. Like I love watching Mourinho, and it's sad, but like the other day, I don't know if you saw the video of him in the van.
No.
He was at San Siro in the car park because he was red carded or he was dismissed from the game prior. So he was watching the game in the car park, and pretty sure it was against Inter Milan. They won, and he was like celebrating in the car park, and that broke my heart. I was so fortunate to have him at United, and the two teams I love with a passion are Inter and Man United. But then when we had him at Inter, doing all that glory and giving people like Pandev such an amazing opportunities. But to see him celebrate against us really broke my heart. But then in the day, he is that he's just an amazing coach.
I like the way he operates in terms of. Like it's almost like wherever he goes, he's a bit of a chameleon. Like he absorbs that culture.
Yeah,
and
the fact that he went to Tottenham and still fit in.
Yeah, caused probably a lot of problems. But
oh man, 100%. I still haven't watched that doco actually. If you can, and again, when we say these, people listening to Spotify don't, but message us. Let us know your favorite football doco at the moment. You still need to check out the Wrexham one.
Yes, big fan. Actually, a lot of people have been telling me to watch that. It seems like it's a very interesting documentary. Well, documentary, it's a TV series, right? What would you call it? Like a docu-series?
Docu-series, yeah. We've got a few things here we'll talk about. I know we're strict for time today because you have to go off to work after waiting an hour to get in this room. So we will talk about the A-League, I reckon, second part of the episode.
Yep.
Or towards the end, not second part.
Mm-hmm.
Just quickly touching on the fact that Ronaldo, I know we try not to be biased either, Messi or Ronaldo. We are grown men, so we're not going to run around and scream the celebrations. But
East side is better. Go full
this guy has now scored 700 club career goals. I'll give you some stats.
Hit me.
944 games to reach 700 career goals. 450 of them between 2009 and 18 were done at Real Madrid. 144 at United with over 50 hat tricks. Now, I know people are going to come at me and be like, "Oh, but Haaland can score more hat tricks in a week than he can."
He can. That's great, but he has to score. Haaland has to score 43 goals for the next 16 years. To equal what Ronaldo's already achieved.
He could.
Yeah, I don't doubt that he can.
But that's amazing to think that someone like that... I'm surprised Pelé hasn't posted anything yet.
Yeah, I know. But 16 years, like, if you said to me he had to do it for 6 years, I'd be like, you know what, that's an awesome stint. Like, 6 years at the top of your game. Not 16.
Yeah.
16 is half of how long we've been alive.
Like, this guy played in an amazing Real Madrid squad. He had the feeding of the ball, the supply and demand. Like he dominated. He's the all-time there when he was there, and it was against teams like Barcelona. But I think this is my question to you now: is do you think Haaland can actually beat that? To see how many goals he's scoring in the Premier League, where it is promoted as the tougher league to score, and that's always a questionable thing. It's always like if he can score in the Bundesliga, surely he can score in the Premier League. Do you think Haaland, at his age, by the time he reaches 41, Ronaldo?
Yeah.
Do you reckon that? Mate, I think so.
I really don't think he's going to last that long. I don't think he's going to be as good as he is now for as long as he needs to be to pass Ronaldo.
So he's been playing professionally, so Leipzig, maybe about 5 years now.
Yeah.
So we'll see if you guys can tune into our episode in 16 years' time.
Let's fast forward. We should put like an old filter on us.
So wait,
oh my God, he's
I'm 31. 16 years. So 16 years it took. Was it? Yeah, it took him to do this.
Yeah.
So Haaland.
You'll be 47.
11 years. 11 years from now.
47. You'll be almost 50. Haaland will be like 38.
Ah, Jesus. I will be 50 when Haaland retires. That's actually sad.
That's sad. Yeah. We're a lot older now.
My
than what we thought.
child is 2 almost. So she in 11 years she'll be.
Sorry to
she'll
the
be a
listeners. I think
teenager.
we've all just come to. Well, both of us have just come to the realization how old we feel.
If you're 60, listen to this. Like, geez, you'll be 70.
Unlucky.
But that's amazing. Hopefully, we'll see in football.
No, so good.
You got questions?
Yeah. So we obviously we got a few submissions in last week, and there was a few questions we had to skip over. And talking to a few guys that came down to the pop up yesterday, they mentioned the fact that, I submitted my question, didn't get to get on here. And just in conversation, I was like, what was your question? And one guy actually came up with a really interesting concept. He's put the question to us that if you could pair any club with any manufacturer, who would you pick and why? What's the reason behind picking that manufacturer?
It's actually good because I just realised that the second part after this fits in well.
Yes.
Do you want to go past, you go, me go, and then present, you go, me go?
Yeah, let's do that. We'll do a classic and a current. Yeah, that sounds
so
fun.
for the real purposes, what club and manufacturer combination was the best combo in the past and in the future? So go past first.
Oh, past. Okay. I'm gonna have to go. I'm so torn here. I'm actually like gripping the microphone that hard. It's really hard because I love Nike in the 2000s, like early 2000s. Reebok did some awesome stuff back then as well. Early, like even before that, probably like late 90s. I'm gonna say like Nike 1999 era, that kind of kit. And what club that didn't have Nike? Probably. I guess there's no point going to someone that did have it. I'd love to see maybe like a Bayern. I reckon Bayern and Nike, like something that we will never see probably ever. That would be really cool for me. I think something classic, like you've got that Boca kind of Barcelona-esque, thick collar, thick sleeves. I'd love to see Bayern with that, but I know that was over like the Dortmund kind of separation, right?
Yeah.
Nike and Adidas it across 2 different codes. I'll let you go classic first, and then I'll have a think of my current.
So wait, are we making combinations that we wish happened?
Yeah.
Or are we saying ones that we like?
No, combinations we wish could pair.
I'm just confused now. Wait, are we talking about ones we like? Because you said Bayern and thing, because they've always been Adidas.
Yeah, correct.
So you're trying to make a few potential,
Yeah, perfect world if you could pick any club and any sponsor.
I thought these are ones we like.
No, that's okay.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense now. Look, it's hard because there's so many good ones. I'll say the ones that I really enjoyed in the past was always the generation of Nike at Arsenal. I think that was always the greatest combination ever, the Drake Ramberg era, all the design, the zigzags.
Yeah.
That was just by far one of the best combinations. The current one for me, again, it has to be Adidas and Arsenal. They reinvented football in the fact that they gave freedom to a club.
Yeah.
And I love seeing that. Now, for my choice of collaboration, that would have been so good to see. Inter have been with Nike for centuries, for a very long time. But I would love to see Inter Milan with Kappa.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
They're coming towards the end of the tenor now, and I wouldn't be surprised if they leave. But if there's a manufacturer in Italy that would get so culty in the sense of what we're seeing with Venezia, I would love to see Inter Milan with Kappa. I think it would be a perfect combination, local manufacturer, and the fact they know Italy, it will work out. The only problem with manufacturers these days is clubs are signing sponsorship deals or collaboration deals with big brands. So, for example, Moncler and Nike do a thing, and then you see Off-White and Adidas is doing a thing for Milan.
So there's sort of like a third party that exists that has to sort of
More
connect to the relationship. Yeah, of course.
Basically. But yeah, mine would be Kappa and Inter Milan.
From a tech sense, is there like what manufacturers tech currently? Because obviously this is your jam, right? So is there like a piece of technology in current kits that you would have at any club? Like if you could pick it,
100% Adidas and Heat Ready.
Yeah,
Heat Ready.
What about it? Like I don't dabble too much in current kits, so
I don't have one on me now. But I think the best part about if you have an opportunity to check out the Adidas kits, we got one right there actually. It's the Spain one. I was just looking at that. If you ever have an opportunity to look at this, let me just make sure it's heat ready. Yeah, look at the back. It should say heat ready. Yep, that's heat ready. So all right, Paul, while I talk about it, you can have a look. Yeah, I love the cut. So around the bottom of it, it's actually shaped in this sort of rectangular version. So it fits in well at the front. It's a perfect fit. The snugness of the shirt itself is also, it's got the GPS tracking little pouch here as well. So that's another little combination that not many people notice. It adds that sort of player spec value, but it's the paneling system of it. It really fits around the neck. If you can have a look at the Dry Fit Advanced for Nike as well, this template here that we've got on all three shirts does work well, but I think what you get in this paneling system reminds you of Umbro's generation. You know that Zanetti shirt you gave me?
Yep.
It's got that Umbro sort of outer exterior detailing, but it's the shaping of the body that I think Heat Ready does well.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think, look, and then I think I can't disagree with you, to be honest. Like, I think the current Adidas range that they've just dropped is massive. I know we're not venturing too far out. Like the people that I was speaking to on the weekend mentioned that they love Macron, like, and that a lot of the kits that they were producing were great. And I think there's a lot of other manufacturers that aren't, outside of Nike and Adidas that are doing good things. I think Puma kind of misses the mark a bit. I'm not a big fan. I think, look, maybe match worn stuff or match prepared sort of kits might be a little bit better, but. I think definitely Addy for me this season. But I'm trying to if I could pair anyone, you know what? And I know it hasn't happened yet. I'm actually really upset that Italy hasn't gone with Addy now, and they're waiting till next year. It probably worked out well considering they didn't make the World Cup. But
yeah, probably the Euro run.
Yeah, if this is anything to go by, I'm looking forward to see what Addy produced for Italy.
Can you imagine like a Italia 90? Inspired shirt. Like I'd love to see a white jersey with red and green detailing.
Yeah. What's one kit manufacturer that's really not prominent anymore that was prominent back? Allsport would be cool. Yeah. Diodora maybe.
Diodora, Kovo,
Asics. Those Asics kits we were looking at was sick. Yeah. Those thick collars, thick crest.
That one you had yesterday, Lotto Saint Etienne, was beautiful.
Yeah, that was a nice kit too, actually.
I actually was thinking about buying it, but I was like, I don't wear that. I'm not going to wear it.
Because what was it? It had like a big casino sponsor or something.
Yeah, it had a nice little string design.
Yeah. You know what, actually, I came across recently, Sweden 50th anniversary shirt from 2008, worn once against France. I just stocked it online. Not to plug that, but they played like a bit of a throwback on the neck, and they threw like an elastic kind of version of the string. And I'm like, that's so cool. Like it's such a good, a modern take on like classic.
Yeah.
But it's still kind of like tech positive. Like it's not going to affect performance. This big thick string that's like flopping around while you're playing, but it still looks retro. And I'm like, oh, that's really cool. I was a big fan.
Yeah, actually, it's crazy when you think about it. Like, there's so many brands, manufacturers in Australia at the moment for A-League. Like, yeah, we don't have any in the top two. We don't have Adidas or Nike down here. So I'd love to see one of those come back to Australia.
Yeah, yeah.
But again, I just feel like there's so many good brands out there and so many clubs that can, work off that. There is rumors that Nike's leaving Barcelona, so who knows what's going to happen there in the future.
Yeah, who knows? I'd love to see, like, I'd be interested to see if like a local brand or even like a brand that's like a strictly sustainable brand that, might even take the reins somewhere, like, even if it's only one club or something. I guess even Maber. You look at Maber. Maber's sort of making a comeback with FC Twente.
And Vegas Lights. Yeah. But I think they'll definitely get on board somewhere around the world soon. There is so much potential for a club to change their thing. So actually, to bring this up now, so Adidas and Arsenal have just extended their contract to 2030, which is a very long time for a club like Arsenal, because now that's extended themselves for another 6+ years to have Adidas relationship. Now, Adidas and Arsenal, to me, are by far one of the leading manufacturer combinations for the club, because you look at what Jordan and PSG have done. Mm-hmm. I would say the last 3 seasons of PSG have been one of the worst collaborations with Jordan.
Yeah, I think so.
There have been some great home or away or third shirts. Yeah. The one I've hated the most, and sorry to a lot of people who don't like opinions, but I hated the purple and orangey pink one.
Yep.
It was just horrible.
That swirly kind of...
Yeah, it was like that spray paint. Yep. It was just pathetic. It was just a horrible design. But I would love to see PSG come back and do something. I think their tenure with Nike's maybe coming to an end soon. But hopefully that gets extended.
Because that's been long last. They've only ever not been with Nike for one season.
PSG's only existed since the 70s. Let's just remind everyone
that's still 50 years with one manufacturer, aside from I think one season.
They had one season where the Cup only allowed teams to wear Adidas, so they had to do like one team. How strange is that?
That's very
weird.
The
Cup was only Adidas, so all other manufacturers had to like say, "Yep,
subside."
Have a kit with the thing." But yeah, I would love to see something with with PSG change up too.
That'd be interesting. I completely agree with you in the sense, from the Adidas and Arsenal sense. I feel like they've just knocked it out of the ballpark every single
off pitch, on pitch,
everything they've done. I think they've almost set the standard for everyone else. And I feel like a lot of clubs, regardless of who their manufacturer is, in the UK, especially in England, have tried to sort of get to that level. You can see, like I guess Chelsea's a good example, right? Like Arsenal will do an awesome release, do a really cool cultured video where they have some sort of connection with fans and history. And then not that they're copying it, but then Chelsea goes and does one similar, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. Like this is what we need. We want all clubs to be competing to that kind of level.
100%. It's one of those things. I mean, when you have a big manufacturer, you want to be a part of it. All right, got 5 minutes left before we let it off. So again, make sure to follow us on all our socials. Of course, PFC Vintage and Talking Shirt. Now, the second part and the last part, we're not taking a break this video. One big smash out episode. Mm-hmm. We didn't really talk about the podcast, the pop-up, so we'll talk about it towards the end. Mm-hmm. But so one thing I wanted to bring up, and people let me know in the comments below, but I dislike listening to commentators. I think it's just my age now. I'm just really biased towards what they say. I listen to them say things, and I'm just like, what are you on about? Now, no disrespect to the Australian commentators. There's some amazing ones out there. But one thing that really annoys me when I watch the Premier League mainly is, watching as a United fan, you're sitting there, and they just pull out this stupid stat, which is like, Bruno Fernandes hasn't touched the ball in 63 years. He was born in the islands of Mediterranean coast, and because of that situation, the sun's on the east and the moon's going to rise from the west, and that's why he didn't touch that ball.
But isn't that somewhat iconic too? Like we look at Scott Chipperfield, the bus driver from Wollongong, right? Everyone knows him as the bus driver from Wollongong. Like it's funny and it's a quirky thing, right?
Yeah, but that's the quirky thing.
Yeah, but I guess because we have a connection to that, maybe that's why it's good for us.
Yeah.
Are we stuck listening to say commentators from the UK where there is a strong bias, especially on a club level, where you can hear, this commentator is clearly like anti-United or anti-Chelsea.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to have an option on any channel. I know Stan Sport and Paramount definitely won't help us with any of the requests. But I listen to Optus, and it's not Optus's fault, but it's the commentators they get from overseas. And it's just sometimes I sit there and I'm just like, why do I bother? Just turn this shit off. And it's funny because so many people, if I had to hashtag United's game, people reply saying, yes, what the hell's going on with this commentator?
Yeah. I think it's like that you'll get certain players that will become pundits or commentators.
Yeah.
And I feel like depending on how they can articulate things, they seem to be the most like well-rounded because they actually understand the game, and the way they explain how the game's kind of unfolded, it's a much more like open-minded like opinion, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And I think I quite like when they do use them in the commentary box, but it's almost always the opposite way around. Like you have commentators do commentary, and then you'll have the pundits at the halftime show or the pre-game, and then they'll talk about it. And yeah, I think that's when you get that really open-minded approach, and that I prefer. I think most people probably do as well.
100%. And then, of course, there is the art behind it where Robbie Thompson recently for the A-League City game over Western United, McLaren had missed a few shots. I think it was him, Tilio and Lecky. Yeah. And then he said the word fuck in the background, and A-League memes said congratulating on his first viral moment. I love that. At the end of the day, it's Australian culture for me. I think if you swear.
Oh, 100%. I think it's the best. Like
you get involved with the game.
Yeah, commentators are human too. Like I think it's nice when you're trying to refrain yourself from being passionate about the game. Right, so like in that sense, he may be a City fan, he might not be, but he might be kind of like leaning a bias towards it or something. But you put yourself in, say, McLaren's shoes in that situation where you're 2 shots on goal and he's hit it straight to the keeper. Like unlucky, It is what it is. Like it happens, right? And to be honest, I think even I was convinced it was going in. And you're probably a bit shattered for him, so that it comes out. You're like, oh, he's just dropped the F-bomb on TV, and we're all pissing ourselves laughing while we're watching. It's still good.
I love the old days on FIFA when it was like Clive Tilsley, I think it was.
Andy Gray.
Andy Gray was like, oh, great shot. Take it down, put it on the top drawer. And that was like one of the things I used to say every time I used to watch NPL. I was like, oh, great shot.
You know what? Actually, this would be awesome. I'd love this to go to Instagram, and I'd love to see what people say. FIFA had like sections of quotes all along throughout the years, right? But I think I would want to know what everyone's favorite one would be.
The game,
do you remember there was like one where they would start the game and he'd be like, oh, and Andy's just about to join us. He's just gone to grab my tea. And he's like, cheers. And it's like, and then the game would start. I can't remember the exact quote, but if you know, like whatever your exact FIFA quote is that you loved, drop it in the comments because I really want to know what
I used to love messing with the game, like just shoot from somewhere far. And it's like, oh, great shot.
Or when you like bomb one from so far out, you hit it to the corner flag and they're like, oh, that was so close. That was brilliant. So good.
Yeah, commentators, no disrespect to them, they're amazing. They make the game, but again, for me, they can make or break it.
Yeah. We'll do a quick cross to Instagram, and we'll go see what questions.
Yeah, so definitely, we're just going to let you know they've turned off, I think. So while you answer, I want you question out. To people watching, see me walk around this camera, but you say the answer while
So Adrian G Design, he's actually an awesome customer of PFC. He's like, what are your thoughts on Canada still using generic teamwear for the World Cup?
Well, for me, I'm still recording and I run through the camera.
Just roaming mic.
All right, is the audio even working?
Yeah, it is. It's fine.
Yeah, it's still good.
Yeah.
All right, so everyone, you just watch me run around this screen. Look, I don't know. There's a bit of a political issue there. Do you know what happened?
So I don't know about this. I'll read this now.
So those who are playing at home, so Canada made the World Cup? No. Yes. Canada made the World Cup. I thought that was a trick question. They made the World Cup. Now, recently, one of the players scored a goal, and when he celebrated, he covered the Nike badge.
Oh, wow.
And it was in protest because I think it was in their contract with Nike that they were not going to give him a new shirt for the new season or new year, new calendar season. Mm. And because they made the World Cup, all the fans are like, where the fuck's our shirts? We need a World Cup shirt. We can't just wear this shirt we worn for the last 2 seasons. But Nike had an agreement with them where basically there was no plan for the World Cup.
Yeah, wow.
Okay. So, for example, like Italy didn't make the World Cup, but they still had jerseys ready to go. So there was in the contract to have a jersey ready.
Well, we can almost be safe to assume that most nations will have one each year.
Not many people. Like, look at Macedonia. They've been with the same jersey for the last 10 years.
Well, they had other problems. They had problems when the kit came out and it got binned. And then
that was because our Prime Minister wanted to, propaganda. But look, I think Canadians, it's really sad. Their first World Cup in 30-plus years.
Yeah. And this is probably the best their squad's ever looked, too.
Oh, man, Alphonso Davies. There's so many good players. But that's the thing. That's the issue. So for me, I would say really disappointing and pathetic from Nike. If I was Canada's FA, I would have jumped ship quickly, paid out whatever fee that would have to go and get a new manufacturer for the World Cup.
Surely it's not that hard to produce a kit for a country, especially when most of Nike's stuff very similar. Like aside from, the obvious, say the England shirts.
Just get a new template.
Well, it is a template, right?
But they're still using the old template.
The
Nike stuff, they're still using the old versions.
So that's what I don't see how that's hard. Like I'm sure there's a team using that template with red and white. Like it's not, even if they were to make an inverted kit where it's black and for whatever reason something else, like I just don't see how it's so problematic to even last minute knock it up. Like it's, I don't know, maybe there's more logistics involved than what I know. But
yeah, it's disappointing. Like I'm gonna quickly, they played against Canada, I think, when they did that celebration. Not Canada, they played against Qatar.
So I don't know. I don't think. Look, I think the player probably took it too far in terms of covering the badge because
that's the jersey.
At the end of the day, yeah, okay. So it's just a basic red sort of template kit, I guess.
Literally, nothing special. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in Nike for that.
Yeah, I think the player's kind of out of line blocking the logo. I think that's that's too far. But I think it's. I still think Nike should be giving them something for the World Cup. Hey, you never know. Maybe they could do something late on.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see how we go. What was the other questions now?
No, that was all. That was all we had for today. So the other one was the one we spoke about earlier. It's good. It's going to be a massive week in football again this week. We've got a couple of derbies coming up, so I think it's going to be interesting. A-League, obviously, we've got Victory's got their first home game back at Amy for the season, so it's going to be good. So
he's playing at Brisbane Roar, and then the derby next week after that. I think the first round was great. Love seeing so many teams and just players gelling. Fantasy, I had a good week. Did you check your score?
I was so bad.
Yeah.
I was so bad. I think 5 players did not play.
How?
I just didn't check. I made the team like 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, yeah, he's going to play.
The only one I didn't have not play was Nunaresh. And then, of course, I had Stephen Kolakowski.
-2.
-2. Because he conceded a penalty. He was the one that tapped the play. It was not a penalty. Well, at classic A-League, we had the first, I think A-League means really did it. It was like, it was a lot of swearing, kids running on the pitch. Did you see that? Actually, a quick topic. Did you see what happened?
No.
All right, so Nani finished the game against Sydney. Great game by Victory. They did a great thing. These 2 kids ran on the pitch. Now, before I tell you what they did, they ran on the pitch, hugged Nani, and said, give me your shirt, please, can I have your shirt? And during the commentator, during the little to TV, they were doing like a cross broadcast. The broadcaster, the team was like, come on, kids, you can do it live. Like, let us finish our interview. The security guard comes and grabs the kids and takes them off. Now, a certain person on Twitter says, "Oh, this is so sad to see from the broadcaster and the people, the security guards grabbing this. Let kids be kids. Let them enjoy their thing." And to me, it's like, line up like the rest of the people.
100%. I am so against. You can't just think your priority over everyone else. Jump over a fence where you're not allowed to go on the pitch, and they're probably not going to get the fine that an adult would if they did the same thing.
Well, they posted on TikTok, so there's clout chasing.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, they're like, first person point of view.
Be real.
Let's ready. They jump the fence, they run. You see him sprinting. Good sprint, by the way. Not bad. Sure. Pretty good work. It gets to Milani, and she's like, "Oh, can I have your shirt? Can I have your shirt?" And then in the video, his sister literally said, "You're not my brother." To me, it was perfect. Look, if you got a fine, like I remember when the United game was here, 10 people jumped on. 10 people jumped on and paid $10,000. The stadium made $100,000 from idiots jumping the fence.
I don't know, man. Just like go to the fan days. Do Nani's not going to be behind closed doors.
He's literally here for the next.
No, exactly right. He's going to be accessible. Go to the family days.
It's 3 years.
Yeah, they're going to do signings. Go to the signings. Like there's going to be opportunities. Don't be an idiot that jumps the fence and goes and thinks he's more important than a broadcast, more important than the player. Going back to the rooms to start rehab. Like. Just leave it. Like, I don't understand.
This kid's going to pay. His parents worked hard for this money. Now his parents are paying for it. So to whoever said on Twitter that, let the security guards, just mind their business, let the kids be kids. It's like, no, that's not the point. I think another thing I want to mention to you, and you got to go soon, kids holding the signs up that say, free shirt, give me your shirt. Can I give you a shirt?
Like, I know there was a big fucking push against that for the UK because parents were trying to take them, flip them on eBay and all that stuff. But, I think if it's genuinely for the kid, I don't have a problem with it. I think, every sport has that, right? Everyone wants the shirt. Like, I think it's nice. Like, you see it, like at the end of the games, it's nice to see when a player does it voluntarily.
Yeah,
I think that's probably where the line should be. But, at the end of the day, if a kid wants to play a shirt who idolizes it.
When I walk around with the city lads and to hear people what they say, sometimes it's like, can I have your shorts? Can I have your socks? Can I have your shin pads? Can I have your boots? Can I have... And it's just like, no one's ever said please. And as parents, that's one thing we teach our kids is now, I'm sure when Tommy starts talking, you'll teach him manners. Yeah. But to demand something from people who don't owe you anything.
No, exactly. Why is that sense of entitlement there? Like,
you get me?
Yeah, I don't know.
And I do like when the kid gets a jersey, it's like, oh my God, thank you. And you see him crying. It's like, thank you. Like, to me, all I would say is, make the signs. Because imagine Tommy being an 8-year-old and being like, Dad, I want to make a sign for Ronaldo.
Of course.
Yeah. You're like, let's help you. Because it's fun for them. If he doesn't get the shirt, doesn't get the shirt. It might make me a bit sad, but he'll not regret it.
No, I love the fact that he's showing that much passion towards something. Right, like he obviously cares. Like it's nice to see that he cares.
Yeah, but it's funny when parents use their kids to get
that's a bit of dodgy manipulation going on there. There's a few people. There's a few people in a fan club that we know that do this, and it's just not good.
Pop up was amazing. This guy here is a machine. Does so much. I'm still sad because my jersey is MIA in customs. It is what it is. Shout out to the IBC boys. We missed out on the day, but we're going to make it happen. Pizza was amazing.
Yes. So I guess we can kind of talk about it now because we did do a bit of a sneak release.
Talk about your pop-up though. I'm really proud of you. You did an amazing job.
It's been good. Like I think every pop-up we're leveling up a little bit. We're trying to do more and more each time to make it a better experience. And it's not as simple as just coming into the shop and shopping for kits. Like we're trying to add elements to it, whether it's other vendors or other experiences. So I think the long-term game, there's going to be some sort of VR stuff involved as well, which should be a bit of fun for people. So get down, come and have fun. Even just come and chat. It was nice to see. I met a few blokes that I'd known through online circles, through kids and and kid community, and it was nice just to chat to them. And they love the fact that there's more kits now available in Australia than there has been ever before. So I'm really happy that I can bring that to people and. Yeah, and now the fact that we can do things like the good sauce slices, I won't reveal exactly what that's all about, but it does involve pizza. And if you jump on your Twitter on Talking Shirt, there is a photo of me downing this pizza.
Sorry about that.
My God. Okay, so we collabed this with Panenka, the cafe that's at the front of Ultra Football in Melbourne. Oh, and Sydney now, actually.
Yeah.
And we pitched an idea to them that this good sauce slices is going to be like a pizza football kind of crossover concept. And we said to them, can you make us a pizza? Right, that we can sort of accompany with the products. And they came up with this pizza that is insane. I was so impressed. It is so, honestly, how big is this? I don't know, 10 centimeters thick. It is incredible. So once this launches, get to Panenka and get the pizza because I don't know how much it's going to be.
I feel like it's an inch in your mouth.
And some, man. I don't know. I was tested. I don't know.
Mate, I was trying to think of puns in there. It was like almost like a focaccia.
gauge.
It was like a focaccia.
It was massive. Oh my god!
You gotta make a soprano get a focaccia.
Yeah. So it's like a deep dish style, I guess you could
Get
call
a
it.
focaccia out of here.
Yeah.
Hey, focaccia out of here.
Focaccia, yeah. I think that's a good way to end the episode. Maybe that's
focaccia out of here. Anyways, Gattuso Slices coming to you soon. We'll definitely have another one. Paul's got to go to work now, and I've got to go do some other things. Definitely stay safe. Stay away from stupid people.
See you later, guys.
See you later. Bye.
Focaccia.
Bye. Focaccia. I actually like that. Say focaccia more often.
Focaccia later.
Focaccia later.